Well, another day, another interesting thread created by individuals that seem to be quite the tourists in the anime sphere. This thread was brought to my attention by my good friend Mizu, and it was one that he did a little bit of reading on when we hosted a live stream together. I asked him if I could have the thread so we could go through it in its entirety here for you today. If you're curious, the entire thread is going over a whole bunch of different mangakas that are, according to this individual here on Twitter, exceedingly right-wing. It is basically this entire thread started because it is a quote retweet of this tweet where this person is saying right-wingers are the only real anime fans because 99% of anime is a celebration of beauty, strength, family, and or heroism, and all things miserable, self-victimizing leftists despise. And that was in reply to this tweet where this individual says the real anime tourists are bad people from World War II, lollies, LGBT phobes who will never see anime as nothing more than a toy, something to play with while they have fun with it, and only know the popular stuff, plus lolly bait garbage, using anime as a weapon against people to spread hatred. Now, if you have been in the actual community for anime for any amount of time, you understand that none of this is really true. Like, yes, there is lolly in almost every single anime. I feel like you'd be hard-pressed to find an anime where there isn't a lolly presenting character in the series. But this whole thing here is just really funny to say that the only quote-unquote real tourists are people that are bad people from World War II and lolicons and phobic people, which is obviously not true. This is a meme that is brought up all the time. It's been making the rounds where people are arguing what a quote-unquote anime tourist is. If you want my personal opinion, an anime tourist is literally somebody that only watches Naruto or one of the big animes, and they try to say that they are an anime fan, and they very clearly are not. They haven't spent time to actually become involved with the culture and understand what goes into the culture. But anyway, that spawned this whole thread here by this individual. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce their name here, but their @ is Struggles M7M. Thank you, kind person. And they decided to make this thread showing off all of these mangakas that some of them you are going to recognize. Some of them are going to be a little more niche unless you're very deep into the anime world. But some of them I think are very big reaches. And I want to go through every single one of them today and show you. And as we read through every single one of them, if I can find a decent picture of these mangakas to throw up on the screen as we read, I will go ahead and do so for you. Otherwise, we'll just do the best we can. Also, I will let you know that I'm very bad with pronouncing names, especially Japanese names. I'm very bad at even pronouncing my own name. So please forgive me if I get the names wrong. Starting off here, MommaOcco has been off the rocker for a few decades. And they include some screenshots here of translated by Google images here. And translated by Google is going to be very helpful here. I hope everybody's excited for that. So this is from this guy's account where he says, I'm not a critic. I am not an anime critic or anything like that. But in the latest issue of Chukoran, Mamoru said, I'm not a right-winger or a nationalist, but an emperorist. And I felt like somehow I understood his worldview of anime. They're basically saying that he is an emperorist or an imperialist, or he is for his nation, which, you know, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but that's up to you. I'm going to try not to inject too many of my own personal opinions. I'm going to let you guys kind of decide if this makes them a good or bad mangaka. You can tell me in the comments what you think, but let's move on here. The Spy versus Spy author is Sus, and it includes a couple panels here where the a manga artist is saying the law should be fair to all. You can't make a law. You can't be making a law that benefits one particular person or party. So I hope that the law can be amended so that no one's rights, male, female, LGBT, or otherwise, are infringed. If that happens, I'll be happy to support it. Even now, when the bill hasn't passed yet, I see them in the women's restroom, and I am mortified. So they're talking about women's restroom, and I believe that the Tetsuya Endo is a female here. I will put up a picture on screen and correct myself if I'm wrong. But they're basically listing their concerns for individuals in bathrooms where they don't believe they belong. So there you go. And here's an even longer piece of a longer article here where it talks about their unsettling ties to controversial legislation. And it basically talks about how they are opposed to certain groups that some people have been asked to support more than normal in the most recent years. I'm trying not to be too crazy here. So that is Tetsuya Endo. Usogui, again, I apologize if I'm saying his name wrong, guy follows every single far-righter you can find in Japan and is face first in culture war sports. So this was a retweet where he says, where it says, however, his book is being treated as a historical fact overseas, and non-existent Japanese history is beginning to be misused by leftists and political correctivists. The story that there was an African slave in Japan is also spreading. Historical revisionism is on the rise, and if the author is writing fiction, he should call it fiction. And he is, of course, talking about the Yasuke character, which has his own form of controversy that I'm not going to personally get into because I don't have the facts in front of me to argue with it. But he is basically talking about his disdain for the fact that what he considers to be fiction is on the rise. The next one says, a lot of mecha legends have gone nuts. Masami Obari follows a ton of far-right politicians. They don't actually show any proof for this, but they just go ahead and just say that Masami Obari follows a ton of far-right politicians. And then Akiman endorsed far-right Akane Himasora, and Makoto Kobayashi is a QAnon lord. Again, no proof for this, but they are just saying that this last person here is a lover of the current leader of Russia there. The Lane creator is a QAnon alt-right guy, Lamel, and they give this gigantic list here where it says, I don't know how many of you have already heard about this on Twitter, but because most of you may not have heard it yet, I'm assuming this is coming from the creator themselves. It may want more context what's going on. I'm going to make an important statement that I hope a lot of you can read carefully. Chiaki J. Konaka is an alt-writer. A full translation of Konaka's posts have been uploaded. While my posts work as a TLDR simplification of it, I implore you to read the full document and share it. I will also note this document was my original source. So just skipping down here. Here is the list of reasons why they believe they are an alt-writer. Promoted James Corbett talk radio and UK column, all of which have been alt-right news outlets. I don't pay attention to the news, so I don't know that. Complained about internet platforms shutting down different perspectives and opinions. Went on conspiratorial tangents about World Economic Forum, which we will not talk about. I'm just gonna have to cut out that last part there. Yeah, we're just gonna stop there. But this is proof that the Lane creator, Chiaki J. Konaka, is an alt-writer. Moving on. Kaiji guy is besties with a WW2 denier, Katsuya Takasu, and his wife. Again, there's really just no proof here for that. Moving on here. They say, I swear everyone said that Tanya guy was some big communist. He retweets anti-communist stuff and LDP. And here are some tweets from him where he says, the former Democratic Party's approach of aiming for a moderate position by combining the so-called center-right and center-left factions was not wrong. And I'm assuming he's talking about Japan and not America here. Sadly, rather than being center-right, it seems to have swung so far to the left, or extreme left, which is a real shame. And he says, I think being conservative is a way of life. Here, let me move this here. Where he says, I think being conservative is a way of life, with a cute little cat emoji here. Here, we'll pick some more here. Let's see. This one says, being a fairly conservative person, wherein I venture into a new field, I always seek advice from experts in that field. When it comes to knowledge, it's best to acquire it in a systematic way. Another one where he says, I consider myself a liberal who lives in a conservative lifestyle, and I believe that a democracy and the market economy are beneficial systems under the current circumstances, even if they are not perfect. And to honest, I think we live in a sad time where conservatives and liberals are doing honest work and suffering. So according to this individual, that makes Tanya Guy a anti-communist. I'm anti-communist, so you know what? I can kind of agree with that. This next one says, the Polestar author endorsed far-right candidate, as did a lot of mangaka. And this goes to a Twitter post here, where this individual here, which I'm assuming is the author in question, excuse me, and their tweet says, it's here, of course, after carefully considering the pros and cons from every angle, I have decided that this individual is the most suitable candidate for the Tokyo gubernatorial election. I don't want to see public funds misused anymore or tolerate cancel culture. So they are saying that this mangaka is a far-right endorser. Oh my goodness. Moving on, Murata endorsed Akamatsu, the guy who wrote a cringe anti-feminist manga, and was retweeting shitty stuff afterwards. So this is the individual in question where they say, I have no interest in politics up until now, but thanks to Professor Akamatsu, I have become very interested in it. I'm grateful for that too. I only research it for fun though. So according to them, that makes them an anti-feminist, especially because of their manga, I guess. It continues on here. What manga? He literally joined the LDP because the Japanese Communist Party wanted to ban lolly, and SOC Dem Party leader introduced a bill to ban it as well. And here's a story talking about that. I'm going to be honest with you. You're not banning lolly in Japan. That's just not going to happen. Any communists try to censor that, and it's just not going to happen. So, that's kind of funny. Moving on here. Yoshitaka Amano was asked by Akira Amari to draw 7 LDP politicians as 7 samurai, and he did. And you know what? That's a pretty decent looking photo of the 7 LDP. I'm going to be honest with you. If somebody was asked by Donald Trump to draw him as a samurai, I think that they would do. There's probably images of that exist on the internet. I probably won't flash them on screen because I don't really have the rights to use them in my video, but that would be really interesting if people drew pictures of Donald Trump as... if one of you wants to draw a picture of Donald Trump as a samurai and then send it to me so that I can edit it into the video or throw it up on my community tab, please do. It would be funny. Just do that. Or Joe Biden. Put both of them together so it's fair. Anyway, moving on here. Sadamoto's nasty anti-Korean rant is well known, but he also had a lot of prominent mangakas covering for him, Nobuteru Yuki being one of them. Now, here's just something that some people in the West need to understand, and I'm not going to say it's right, because I do not believe in racism at all. I believe that racism is wrong. But Asians are historically just a little bit racist to all other Asians. That's really all you need to say about it, is some Asians are just racist towards Asians of different races, basically. And yeah, pretty much. I mean, we'll read what he has to say here. So Neon Genesis Evangelion and Summer Wars character designer Yoshiyuki Sadamoto attracted criticism from anime fans around the world over a series of tweets he posted on Friday concerning the After Freedom of Expression historical art exhibit at the Aichi Prefecture Museum of Art. The exhibition was canceled 3 days after its opening due to complaints it received over featuring Kim Seo Kyung and Kim Il Sung Statue of Peace. I'm guessing those are Koreans. Sculpture, which depicts a World War II era comfort woman, the euphemistic term for a woman or underage girl forced to work in the military brothels. Ugh, I'm not going to finish that there. In his tweets, Sadamoto called the statue dirty and vulgar, claiming that the art was simply propaganda with no aesthetic value. Snap. And his tweet here says, well, to begin with, it's not saying that it's not something that should be done within the framework of art, and there's vague sense that the organizers are just trying to cash in on the buzz, which is why it seems so gross. I think policies and positions varying depending on the person and the country, but I think it's the last thing we want to bring to the picture. Okay, moving on. And they continue and say, and, question mark, I was aware he was cheering the JCP back in 2014 and before. He has done interviews on what pushed him to join LDP, and he points at JCP and its lolly views. Now he literally makes manga about feminists censoring manga with affirmative action. Can I see that? Can I see that? Oh man, I really want to see that. The only reason why they said that is because this person says that. And this person says one of the first things Ishihara's youth ordinance revision targeted was an age gap BL manga, whereas things like To Love Ru Darkness got a pass from a handful of unelected people who decides what can be sold in a store. It's not just about lolly. So yeah, they're really not showing any proof here. But if this individual is making anti-feminist lolly propaganda, I would read it. Just saying. I'm not a lolicon, but I would read it. That sounds amazing. Taimanin, I'm sorry, I'm pronouncing that wrong. Taimanin creator voted LDP because several prominent old fart CDP politicians wanted to ban porn, by the way. I can understand. Again, they are quote tweeting this other person here that's seeming to reply to them. Speaking of not safe for work artists, a lot are in deep in that anti-SJW mindset. Remember the outrage of Butcha you being scared of the gay. And none of these are translated here, so I don't actually know how true that is. But I am going to make the safe assumption that it has something to do with being either anti-gay or talking about Superman kissing what appears to be a dude with dyed hair and glasses on. Kimi Onada is one of the most anti-Korean politicians around. Again, some Asians are just racist against other Asians. You got to move out of the U.S. in order to see a little bit more of the world. Just saying. And around the one CDP guy endorsed was shut down by his own party because he was going on weird sexist tangents about the feminist group Collabo. And it talks about that here, where it says Japanese Cartoonists Association has always been accused of being an offshoot of LDP forever. Not funny enough, is the same with the other big anime director organization, Janica, when they endorsed LDP, and one of them was Kimi Onada. And it shows pictures of them here. This one is really funny. I looked at this one and got a big laugh. Hiroya Oku is always causing a fuss, so he has a dozen takes to pull from. And here is one of the takes from Oku, where they say, I saw the Barbie movie at the beginning. It was fashionable and cute, and I was laughing while watching it. But in the second half, it gradually cooled down. It was a strong feminist movie. A movie from an independent woman who doesn't need men. Are you okay with such a big hit in America? Question mark. Oh, it's a good question. Moving down again. Remember when the Uzaki-chan author retweeted Antifa was disguised as Trumpers to invade the Capitol, which is January 6th stuff, which we're not going to talk about. That is an opinion, not a fact. By the way, this is a thread. This thread is all from me. By the way, by this point, they were starting to get a lot of people hating on them for making this thread. So they came out and said that this thread isn't for anybody but them. So you can't reply to this thread and you can't get mad at this thread because it is made for them, only them, not you. Okay? Not me either. So they show this picture where the Uzaki-chan creator is tweeting pictures of what appears to be what they were mentioning here. Ken Otsuka's whole Twitter is full of right-wing fear-mongering, anti-Kurd, anti-Chinese, and moaning about Yasuke's existence in Assassin's Creed. Also has a lot of misinfo regarding BLM a few years back. And it seems that he has retweeted pictures or retweeted tweets about immigration laws. Just as a side note, again, not giving my own opinions here. Not my country, so, he definitely is one that could voice his opinion about Yasuke because it is his country, but not my country, so I'm not supposed to give my opinion on it. But, I assume that I assume that his takes are soft. Continuing on here, it seems like they don't have much longer. I looked through this. It is a decently long thread, but there really isn't a whole lot here. I believe we're getting close to the end here. And question mark, I make this thread 10 times longer if I started dropping BL Yuri mangaka spouting turf trash. Akamatsu has supported the majority of LDP core politics that have no relation to freedom of expression. And it shows a picture of first lesbian couple in a Shonen magazine, by the way. Yasukai Kita endorsed far-right Akane Hisamura. Again, talking about this Hisamura individual. Tatsuya Egawa, author of Golden Boy, is an anti-Korean Trump supporter. Again, don't make me top the sign about Asians. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it. So yeah, that's the entire thread. I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel. This individual, this struggles individual here is bringing up a good point. There are a lot of mangaka out there that appear to endorse ideals that some might see as far right. I don't necessarily feel like they are that too far right, but that is just me. But you know, I am just an octopus on the internet. I don't know. So, I don't know, chat, what do you think? Leave a comment down below which one of your favorite mangakas are now far-right extremists, and tell me if you can still support them after this atrocity that you have gone ahead and seen today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like it so that you can see more videos boosted in the algorithm. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so that you know when I go live. I appreciate you all for watching today, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!